Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I know I've been off for a bit over a month since the Bags and Blasts update, and I do apologize for that. Work has been quite hectic, and I wish I had more energy after work, but that's just how it is at the moment. However, this new update has come out and it has re-sparked my inspiration for doing some more builds again, so look out for those soon. I will be doing an Oasis build with some drum holes and then also with the new items that we have in this update as well. So this is the 1.1.2 minor update, so it's the update that's in between the two major ones on the roadmap. So it's not the 1.2 that we'll be getting later this year, but it is a nice little miniature update with some new cool stuff. And so yeah, if you play The Sims, it's like a kit or like a stuff pack, you know? It's nice, cool additions to the game. But you know, in Corekeeper's case, it's free. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it, and I will go over those new things as well as reading from the patch notes. So let's go. Alright, so here we are. We've got some new items that you can see on screen, but I will be reading from the patch notes and go through each thing. As you already saw, I've got a new pet. It's a little bat thing doing its creepy little thing over there. But yeah, we've got a new pet. It's called Airy, E-A-R-I-E, and it kind of really goes with the airy flooring that I've got going on, and that's why I put that down. So definitely a Halloween theme going on there. And then we've got some so a new weapon that we can see down here. That is called the Noxious Meteor Staff. This one here. So you get 548 to 668 magic damage range, 0.5 attacks per second, plus 16% chance to apply poison on hit, and reduces enemy healing received by 75%. So the description is a tainted staff laced with corroding blight. It sizzles with embedded energies that rain down a dense drop of toxin. So I'll go over here and we'll test it out, but I want to remind you that we got the corrupted meteor staff last update, and I just want to show the difference between each one. So we've got the new one, the Noxious, so it's got this new cursor as well that we got with the corrupted meteor staff. And so if we aim it up here, and then if we aim it here and here, so it makes a kind of sizzling bubbly sound and then drops down. And then a reminder that this is the corrupted meteor staff, so up here, here, and here. So they're quite similar, but I really quite like this one, and also it does poison, and it looks phenomenal with the ivy poison going up and then this pink oozing fire thing. So yeah, I quite like it. Excited to find it and use it. I assume it might be in the Azaeus or something like that, because that's where the poison is, so I'd assume it would be that, but can't assume too much. And then we've got a new Offhand item as well, which is called the Scratch Stone. So this one is for your minion build, so plus 8.1% minion damage, plus 1 max minion count, and the description is the claw marks in this rock reveal dormant energies inside, waiting to be awoken. So that's really cool if you're going for a minion build. And yeah, I didn't go over this. So this is the airy egg. This is it cracked, and this is it ready to go, and this is it equipped. And its little interaction with you is that one. We'll do it again. And one more time. It kind of just does like a hug me. And now we will go through the rest. So we've got some new decorative items for pets, which are craftable in the loom. So if you go into the loom, usually before it had just the rug and the floor pillow over here on the left in the crafting section. So these are all still the same here, but now they've added the pet bed, the wolf cabin, the nap tree nook, and the perch pole. So 2 of these items can be painted. So it's the pet bed and the nap tree nook. So the pet bed says a cozy bed for your pets to take a break in. A pet placed in the bed will passively roam its vicinity. The wolf cabin, a snug little shelter with a soft interior. Pets will stay nearby and treat it as their cozy home. The nap tree nook, a plush climbing tree with cozy cubbies and platforms. Pets will lounge around it and treat it as a relaxing hangout. And then the perch pole, which I've used, a decorative post with a perch attached. Pets will stay close to it and use it as a familiar resting place. So I've seen birds use this, and it is the best thing that I have ever gotten, because I am always so sad that I have to put pets on a pedestal, or birds on a pedestal, and like the birds look fine because it looks like they're perching on it, and that's okay. But now that you've got a perch pole for your bird, well, actually for any of your pets, but the only one that I think the only one that actually perches on it is the bird. I haven't tested it with anyone else. I haven't tested it with this dude. But to show you how it works, you have your pet here, so you don't have it on you, but you press E, or your interaction button, and then you put it in there, and then they kind of chill around it. If you have a bird, it will perch on top. But yeah, they'll just kind of hang around it. They won't leave that area, but they'll just be there. I would recommend not pressing the right click button if you've got a pet already on you. It will actually, I'll just show you here. So if I have this one, actually, what am I doing? Why don't I use a bird? Okay, so if I have a bird, God, it gave me a purple one. If you right click, it will swap pets. So yeah, don't do that. So we're going to put the bird on there, and I'll show you how it works with the bird. So now we'll just kind of chill, hang around the pole. And yeah, same with these ones here. They'll just kind of hang around, sit on it. They don't go inside the wolf kennel, which I'm kind of sad about. I was excited to see if the dog would go in there, but it didn't, and I was a bit sad about that. And I put a slime pet with the nap tree nook, and it didn't jump on the different platforms, but yeah, we hoped and prayed for the best. But the bird is doing its own thing. Actually, I think it will... Oh no, it does seem to be working. It's just kind of not perching at the moment, but that's okay. So these are the different 4 ones, and then these are the 2 ones that you can paint. So I do want to say that this one has the default, these 2 have a default color. However, this one, when painted the blue, it doesn't change like usually all the other things. However, this color doesn't exist within our painting range. So it's kind of like the rug, where it has its own default color and then can change colors. So I don't understand why they only did it for this and didn't do it for this. Bit confused there. But yeah, so this is black, grey, white. This is peach, pink, red, orange. I'm gonna put God mode on again. Orange, brown, yellow, green, teal, turquoise, no, that's cyan, blue, and purple. And over here, so you've got the different ones. I don't know. I don't think I'll be using these because it's just kind of, yeah, I do like them. I really quite enjoy that we have, you know, beds for our pets, and that's great. However, it just feels a bit just like copy pasted sort of situation. It doesn't feel like there's a lot going on with the beds. You know, at least with these sort of things, like it's got a little can on it and it's got some sort of like thing going on there, and then same with here, it's got some texture, whereas this just feels like a flat piece of cardboard painted. Ugh, I hate saying that, but it doesn't look good is all I'm saying. And like the 3 different blues that we've got going on here all look the same. What is the point? You know, I've got max brightness on. If I'm doing something like normal like this, look, that looks almost the exact same. And that's not much better either. It doesn't feel like it has any personality, this item. So I don't think I'll be using it a whole bunch. I'll use it in that build to show it off. However, maybe the only good thing about this one is probably the red and the orange. But that's about it, really. Sorry to say. But moving on to other color options is cattle color variations. So the cattle now come with coats in different colors. Cattle babies will typically inherit the coat of one of their parents, but there is a chance that they will mutate and have a random coat color. So you can't get these different colors in creative mode. There's no option for that. It's just purely basic, which is unfortunate, so I couldn't show it off. However, if you're looking for a visual guide on the different colors for each cattle, Owlunae will be putting out a visual guide of her own, and that will be posted in the official Core-Keeper Discord and in the subreddit soon. So do keep an eye out for that if you're looking to just get a heads up on what colors you could be getting. If you don't want to be spoiled, obviously don't go and search for that. But yeah, that information will be out there. I couldn't get it. I think the most I got was a grey turtle and an orange dodo, which was cool. The orange dodo was cool, and I think a pink turtle. So yeah, and I know that there's a purple strolly poly out there, so look out for that. And now you have the option to toggle on or off the breeding for the cattle. So each individual cat or animal has a button that when you go into the information window for your cattle, you can click on the dummy or the pacifier, and then you can turn on and off breeding. So if you don't want a million little baby calves running around, then you can turn that off. And then the primary use for tomes that summon ranged and melee minions now commands the spawned minions to go to a certain location or focus on a specific target. So I've tested this out and it's great. So I'll show you what I mean here. If we go into weapons, just gonna give that one, and this one's a good one. So if I'm, where can I go actually? Got this cursor as well. So if I do that one here, I can also do it over here and then up here and over here and down here. And then same with these melee ones. Oh, I gotta wait. Out of mana. Over there. Over here. And then they move. And you can also click on the enemy that you want them to target and they will go after that one as well. It is a bit glitchy at the moment with it like if you're over here and say there's like a wall here, it won't, sometimes it will go over there and sometimes it won't. So you just kind of got to be aware of where you're standing. But in the mold dungeon, it's especially good because you can, you know, stand and on your bridge or whatever you're doing and heal up and then get your minions out there, and you can go to an area where you don't have to walk there and, you know, summon them. So that's really good. Holy shit, I didn't even realize that they exploded. Goodness me. And now the thing that I am most excited about, which it is now possible to use tools, use many tools, while using boats or minecarts. So the tools that you can now use are the shovel, the hoe, paintbrushes, roofing gadget, and the watering can. I do want to thank iDoodle for testing this out in live version, because I forgot what we could and couldn't use while recording this video. So thank you very much, iDoodle. Yes, very, very helpful. But I'm going to show that to you. So if we hop on over here, I will jump off God mode so that you can see it properly. But over here we can use the paintbrush to paint a fence. This is especially helpful to those of us that are base builders and have a water build and are on boats and trying to do everything. Then we can shovel. So we can shovel that kelp in the ground and the coral as well. You can also shovel the lily pads, and we can also hoe the lily pads up, and we can shovel those jellyfish as well. Everything in the ocean. And then the roofing gadget. That can be done as well, and that is going to save me so much time when I do my mega build at the moment. So thank you, dev team. Thank you for listening to our prayers, and thank you to that one person that suggested this and got so many upvotes in the Discord, because you seriously, I completely agree with you that this needed to be implemented so soon, because it is frustrating as hell to have to build bridges just to paint something or just to put roofing or use the roofing gadget somewhere and then get rid of it, and it's just so time consuming. So I really, really do appreciate this. And this happens on both boats. I just put them here to show, but yeah, it works on both. And then these tools also work while on the minecart. So if we go over here, I have set this up. I'm going to go on my light build. If we go here, we can use the paintbrush. Yes, I totally used one that you can see. So while riding the minecart, you can paint the glass. Then you can also use your watering can. So while doing that, and then you can also use the roofing gadget. Whoop. And then you can also use the shovel for the kelp, and you can also use the hoe as well in water, and then just final one to paint as well. So yeah, that's my good old testing there. But it goes to show that it works out perfectly. So Minecart is really good. I'm so glad that I can use all these tools while going through. I do want to note that you could fish while in the minecart already, and same with the boat, and then same with the bug net. You could use that tool while in your minecart and also in your boat. So those ones were already implemented. And they've readjusted the speed and lifespan of the projectiles fired by the core commander's orbs to match the intended behavior. So that's perfect. So we've got some other stuff. I'm not going to go over everything. I will put up the patch notes at the end so you can pause and read if you want, but I'm not going to go through everything because there is a little bit there. However, the main important ones are, so the scanners for the Hydra bosses are now moved from the ancient hologram pod to the Hydra altar, which I think is great because initially when you get the ancient hologram pod after you defeat, after you open the wall, it is quite a lot of your scanners to just suddenly have access to right off the rip. So yeah, having them later at the Hydra altar I think it's much better for gameplay and for just there's too much overload basically. When you're a new player, it's just too much, whereas I think it's good for progression for it to be at the Hydra altar. Then the explosive walls known as the poison berry wall and the molten wall that we got last update, and a lot of people wanted to craft them. Well, they're now crafted in the laboratory table, so you can craft those for decoration use or just to have them in your inventory to use as the bombs on walls. It's going to be great. And then now, as you've seen as well with my pet doing its thing, they now occasionally move around even if the player is stationary. So they're just kind of like zipping and zapping. He's doing it right now. They get the zoomies, it's okay. And then in the creative mode menu, the lantern now has its own category. So if we go into the armor section, if you scroll down, it now has a lantern section. So before, it used to be in the offhand category and you had to scroll down, but now, sorry, that's not offhand, what am I doing? Offhand category, and you'd scroll down, it was there, but now they do have their own section for lanterns, which is really good. Now we're on to game balance, which I want to go over everything here. So Hydra summoning wind organs no longer cost gems, so this is going to be really good for people that have been complaining about it. But these have now been replaced with area appropriate ore bars. So it's another use for your ore bars, which I think is quite good for later game people that, they have a lot of boulder setups and now you can use that ore that's just kind of sitting there in your chest. And then the Hydra boss gem drops now scale with the number of players in the world, increasing based on party size. Then we've got some increased gem drops from the Mimite enemies and Sun Crystal Destructibles. So the Mimites are those ones that run at you headstrong in the crystal area. And then all worlds created in 1.1.2 or later, so this update or later, are now guaranteed to get at least 3 ancient battle arenas, which is amazing because guaranteed means that you are guaranteed to get the merchant. With a lot of players at the moment, since they removed for some reason removed the guaranteed part of getting a ancient battle arena, and had less because of the way that the world was changed from being infinite to not infinite, then it screwed a lot of people over. And I have been part of a world where we got no ancient battle arena, which then in turn gave us no alien NPC or Lost Explorer NPC, and then that in turn didn't allow us to get a lot of stuff like the bait pole, and we couldn't fight at the Atlantean worm. So it really was quite frustrating. We did have to create another world to get that ancient battle arena, and that shouldn't have to be done. So I'm glad that they've put this in. Sucks with the people beforehand, but that's how it's going to be. And then the inventory size bonus from backpacks now scales with item level. So I know a lot of people have been asking for this. I've seen it in the suggestions area. So this is going to be quite good. But this doesn't affect pouches. So you will not get extra stuff with pouches if you upgrade it. It's just the backpacks. We've also rebalanced the boss health regeneration to be more consistent. So all bosses will now regenerate back to full health over time when not in combat. No bosses will instantly heal back to full health if the player strays from the combat area, which I think is really good. Yeah, like you just kind of walk away from the allotted area, and then it would just immediately heal up, and then you come back and then it's like, what's the point? So that's a really good change. And then bosses that require a summoning item will now wait for their health to fully regenerate before they despawn if the player leaves the combat area. So that counts towards, you dying and then portaling back and then, doing that. So that's really good. So if they were like really low or something, then it will try and get back to full health before it despawns. But then if you get back into the fight, it won't despawn because you're still fighting it. So I think that's a really good change there. And now we're on to bug fixes, the last thing of this patch notes here. So we've got a few things. So there's the major rework of the code for the in-game map. So there was a lot of fixes here, but this fixes a range of long-standing issues, including misaligned pixels, inconsistent behavior for some markers, and the map sometimes jittering back and forth when the player moves through the world. Not just when the player moves through the world, also when they sit down for some reason and then you open the map. So that has been fixed. I'm really glad about that. Then minions should no longer explode when the player changes loadouts while having the Desert Guardian set equipped. Having disconnections while the player inventory changes should no longer cause items to be lost if reconnecting to the same server. The hovering text over signs is now hidden when the in-game UI is disabled. That's really good. I was seeing that a lot in Tito's build. He had UI off, but then the in-game text on signs was still coming up. It was kind of weird. Navigating to the Add All button in the content menu using a gamepad may no longer result in the game freezing. Heal over time effects from sleeping should no longer be carried over to other worlds. Using garden trails without seeds should no longer cause durability loss. The default cursor should now always be displayed when having inventory or map open. And they fixed an issue where you couldn't navigate to the inventory hotbar using gamepad directional buttons. So a few fixes in there for gamepad users, that's really good. And the map fix is really good there. And then also that hovering text for signs is really a good fix too. So that's everything there. We've gone through all the new items. I do hope you're excited for this update as I am. I am really excited to make that pet build with the new items. Sorry to Pet Beard, I still don't like you, but please let me know what you think in the comments, and I'd love to hear what your favorite item is and if you're excited to find this new pet too. But I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.